Hello guys, welcome back to Loggery. How are you all doing? I hope all of you are doing great, all of you are fine and safe. आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं today we are going to talk about syllabus of CLAT 2023 as well as 2024. So I've analyzed not only CLAT 2022 question paper for you, I've also analyzed 2020 and 2021. If you don't know, the CLAT pattern as well as some of it, the syllabus was changed in 2020. So we need to analyze 2020, 2021 and 2022 because the pattern and the syllabus was changed in 2020, right? So we are going to discuss about the section wise topics, all the topics that you need to cover. Then I'm going to tell you about the important topics so that you can cover these topics first. Then we are going to talk about topics not to cover. Yes, I think the best way to tell you guys about what is the syllabus of the CLAT exam is to tell you that what not to study, because one of the biggest mistakes law students commit or CLAT aspirants commit is that they tend to cover the topics that you don't really need to cover for CLAT. Right, so CLAT is different from all other law entrance exams like that of ALET, SLAT, MHCET, BHU. If you want to know how to prepare for those exams, I've already done videos. You can find the links in the description box below. So I'm also going to talk about those wrong famous books that you should not opt for. So this is going to be a great session because you need to know what you have to cover. If you have joined a coaching institute, then also you need to know the syllabus of CLAT. If you have not joined a coaching institute, you are preparing for CLAT all by yourself, then also it is important to know the syllabus. To know the most important thing is what not to study for CLAT, right? So let's get started with today's session. Yeah guys, welcome to Loggery. I hope you're subscribed to Loggery's YouTube channel and hit that bell notification so that you do not miss any of our videos. And I hope you're following us on Instagram. We're there by the name @IamLoggery. We do pretty motivational stuff out there if you want to stay happy, if you want to stay motivated, and if you want to stay connected a little more with Loggery, then do follow us on Instagram. Pattern of the exam. So it is very important to know the pattern of the exam. So I want to tell you that in CLAT, all sections have passages. All the sections have passages and questions are on the basis of those passages. Now, one thing that a lot of you might ask me is that in the GK section also we have to, if we have to answer from the passage only, then do we have to learn GK? Yes, you have to learn current affairs, because yes, there are passages that are there in the current affairs section, but the questions are not based on the passages, they are based on your memory. Okay, that is clear. So now I would say that please go through the previous year question papers of CLAT 2020, 21, 2022 as well as the sample papers. Everything is available for free on my website www.loggery.com. Right, now maximum marks 150 marks, duration of the exam is 2 hours. Then we have 150 questions of 1 mark each. Okay, there is negative marking, 0.5 marks कटेंगे अगर आप गलत आंसर देते हो. So there is negative marking. So subject areas with weightage, marks distribution, this is very important. Everybody is going to make notes. Please guys, this is very important. हर बच्चा notes बनाएगा. Everyone is going to make notes. This is a very important video. English language 28 to 32 questions are going to be there. Current affairs 35 to 39 questions. Legal reasoning 35 to 39 questions. Logical reasoning 28 to 32 questions. Quantitative techniques is 13 to 17 questions. Now quantitative techniques is your maths and data interpretation, right? So that is clear. Please make notes. This is very important. English. So English 28 to 32 questions are going to be there. This time in 2022 you had 6 RCs followed by 5 questions, each is equal to 30 questions. So RC is the most important part. The entire section is going to be reading comprehensions and reading comprehensions only. So your reading comprehension is a very important part. That is clear. Now coming over how you have to study for your reading comprehension. Number 1, you have to read theory. Yes, you have to read theory. You need to know how to solve different types of questions, how to solve different types of RC questions, right? So different types of questions you need to learn, you need to know how to solve that. For that you have to read theory. You can read theory from Arun Sharma's book. Then you can also, I have shared a free PDF on my website. You can go through that. Any one of them is going to work. Or like first go through the PDF. If you understand things from here, well and good, don't invest in Arun Sharma. But if you're not able to understand from the PDF, invest in Arun Sharma, right? So I'm going to talk about various other books also very soon. If you want to wait, you can wait for that also. Till then, you can go through the free PDF that is available on my website. I'll give the link in the description box also. Right. The next topic is figures of speech. For figures of speech, you can depend on your YouTube. You can depend on YouTube. From YouTube, you can make notes. There's so many videos. Make notes, and then you can keep on solving your figures of speech questions. Right. Then we come over to vocabulary. Now, this is very, very important. You need to understand one thing, that in your CLAT exam, for your entire exam, for all the sections, entire exam, all the sections, vocabulary is very, very important. Yes, vocabulary is very, very important for all the sections. But you have, for that, what you have to do is you have to make your own word list from the newspaper. This is very, very important. Yes, because all the passages, as I told you earlier also, कि आपका पूरा का पूरा पेपर कैसा होता है, passage based होता है. The paper type is passages in all sections. So these passages are basically picked up from your newspapers, from magazines. So these are all journalistic sources, magazines, newspapers. So there's a common language. There are some common words of which you need to know the meaning, and you can find these words in the newspaper. So every day when you're reading the newspaper, for that you can start taking exam classes. These are for free on YouTube. I take live class from 6 to 7 every day. If you cannot attend the class from 6 to 7, you can watch the class later on. There's a recorded video that is available, and here I tell you that these words, you need to know the meaning, you can note it down. So you need to create your own list. This is very, very important. And if you go through the question paper of CLAT 2020, 2021, 2022, those students who were reading the newspaper every day could feel that it was easier for them to attempt the paper, because they knew the meaning of these words that are used again and again in the passages. So directly for vocabulary, questions are going to be there only in English, but indirectly you'll see that a lot of questions you are able to solve in different sections only because you know the meaning of one particular word, and that can be easily found in the newspaper. So every day if you're learning 6 to 7 words also, by the end of it your vocabulary is going to be great. It's going to be a thumbs up. Okay, so this is what you have to do. Now, very less chances that these topics are going to be there is your grammar. So grammar, first, I always ask my students that you have to divide your preparation into 2 runs. ठीक है, आपको अपनी preparation को 2 runs में divide करना. What are these 2 runs? 2 runs is, in the first run you're going to cover the important topics of all the sections. In the second run, what you're going to do, you're going to do very less important topics, or the questions that are very less expected or are never there, but you're going to cover just for the safe side. So first run topics your first run topics are your reading comprehension, figures of speech, and vocabulary. That is an everyday thing. Vocabulary is your everyday thing. Okay, now in detail, if you want to know how to study and all that, I've already done a video. I'll leave the link in the description box, and please watch the other videos that are going to be there. So for that, please subscribe to the channel. I request you to please subscribe to the channel. The next is, very less chances are there. So these are your second run topics. This is your second run topic in English. In grammar, you can cover basic grammar like that of subject, verb, agreement, and tenses. Now, one of the mistakes that students commit is they cover these topics first. No, you don't need to cover your grammar, subject, verb, agreement, tenses first, because these are least expected. Maybe only 1 to 2 questions or 0 questions. Right? Are you getting 1 to 2 questions or 0 questions are going to be there? So this you have to do at last, and if you do not have time, you can leave them also. But this here on this side is very, very important. All of these 3 things you need to do. Right? Then comes your common mistakes. Which are those common mistakes that students tend to commit? Number 1 is related to the book. So when it comes to book, Norman Lewis. Now, also I want to talk about this grammar book, that is Wren and Martin here. Okay, Wren and Martin, you should study from Wren and Martin grammar only and only if you were taught from Wren and Martin back in the school. Okay, if you were never taught from Wren and Martin, do not pick up this book, because this is a very confusing book. Instead, go for a simple grammar book. It can be SP Bakshi, it can be your RS Agarwal, any book. Right? It can be even your school book for covering subject, verb, agreement, and tenses. Okay, and this book you have to buy these books once entire syllabus, all the first run topics are done, then you are going to do it. Clear hai? ये पहले नहीं करना है, and you don't need to order these books right now. No, you don't need to. You don't need them. Okay. Then we have your Norman Lewis. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that start studying Norman Lewis for vocabulary. right? Now I want to tell you one thing. This is a very good book. Okay, I won't say very good book, but good book. Okay, good for vocabulary. But the point is, we do not have time to cover this book, and also this is not the book that is going to help you more when it comes to vocabulary. This thing is going to help you more making your own list from the newspaper, because you see all the passages, most of the passages that are there in your CLAT entrance exam, they are they are from the newspaper, from 1 year to 1.5 year previous year newspaper. Okay, so it means the words that are being used again and again in the news, that those words are going to be there in your paper. So Norman Lewis is a static book. They are not changing according to time. No, but your newspaper is changing as the whatever is happening in the world. They are using those particular words. For example, I give you a very simple example. In the 2021 exam, there was this passage that was based on inoculation. Now what is inoculation? Inoculation is vaccination, and if someone was reading the newspaper back then in 2020, vaccination was being talked about everywhere, and then in the newspaper they were using the word inoculation again and again. Similarly, this time again you could see in 2022 paper, you could see that those words were used that were used in previous 7 to 8 months in the newspaper. So you have to cover the newspaper vocabulary. You have to cover the newspaper vocabulary. You can study Norman Lewis, but this is your second run. If you're done with everything, if you're done with everything related to CLAT, then go to Norman Lewis. But this should not be something that you're picking up first. No, this is something that you need to do first. This is something that you need to do every day. Okay, then learning vocabulary lists of no use, of no use. Instead, one of the biggest mistakes CLAT aspirants commit is they run away from the newspaper. They want that we can do anything but not read the newspaper. But the CLAT consortium, the CLAT people, they want that you should read the newspaper every day. Okay, studying grammar first. No, you don't need to study grammar first. If the entire English is going to be based on reading comprehension, your focus for English should be reading comprehension. Yes, there are going to be 4 to 5 questions on figures of speech, but rest are going to be all reading comprehensions. So 20 to 25 questions from reading comprehension, that is what is expected. So your focus should be on reading comprehension. Clear? If something is not clear, guys, you can leave a comment down below. A. B. You can message me on Instagram. I'm there by the name @IamLoggery. C. You can also book a session with me. That is a paid session, one-on-one session. You can book a session if you have confusion, anything. You can sit with me, talk to me and everything. Link is again in the description box. But you should be clear when it comes to the syllabus part. Okay. Legal reasoning. Your legal reasoning is going to have around 35 to 39 questions. Okay, so most important things. Now here I want to tell you the most important topics. Understanding is very important. Learning is not required. Learning is a cross. If we go through the CLAT guidelines, which you should, they are very clearly saying no prior knowledge of law required. No prior knowledge of law required. So you'll be saying, they are saying no prior knowledge of law required. So we should not study this subject. No. If we go through CLAT 2020, 2021 and 2022, the prior knowledge of law has always helped. But the understanding of law, not the learning of law, it is always the understanding of law that has helped. Because it is human nature. Whenever we read something for an exam, we tend to what? We tend to learn it. But here you have to understand it. Now, if you are not aware that what is legal reasoning, how we have to solve legal reasoning questions, if you are new to this world of law, I would say watch my video. Go to YouTube, type legal reasoning loggery, you will find that video that has around 50,000 views, and I have taught you how to solve legal reasoning type of questions. Okay, that much is clear. Now, which are the topics that you have to cover? Indian Constitution. I have my own course of Indian Constitution that you can watch. This is going to help you a lot again with the understanding part. Then you have your torts, contracts, criminal law. These 4 are very important. Right? If you have less time and you have to choose only 4 chapters, then I would say go for Indian Constitution, torts, contracts, and criminal law. But if you have extra time, you can go for family law, international law. Right? Now, from where you have to cover, look, LA and LR by Willie is a good book. You can go for that book. Okay. And one more book you have to go for is previous year questions book. Again, I'll leave the link of that book in the description box. Okay. You can also go for AP Bharadwaj. right? You can also go for AP Bharadwaj. In AP Bharadwaj, you won't find topics related to family law and international law. Then I'll be giving you those notes. You can study from there. Okay, I'll upload on my website. So this is what you have to do if you have AP Bharadwaj. No need to invest in Willy then. Clear. Now the book part is clear. Now this is what you have to do. Now it is very important, once you have read the theoretical part, you have good understanding of law, you have understanding, right? My first step is understanding law, then second step is practice. You need to practice what we call legal reasoning questions. You need to practice legal reasoning questions. The best way to practice is previous year questions of ALET as well as CLAT. ALET and CLAT previous year question papers you need to solve, right? These questions you need to solve. Now these questions are going to be based on previous year pattern. Now you're going to say this is the old pattern, but if you practice old pattern questions, I guarantee you will be doing good with new pattern also. So first solve the old pattern, and then I'm going to tell you that from where you can buy sectional tests from different places. But first step is previous year questions, ALET and CLAT. This is the first step. Don't directly jump to the second step. If you are able to solve these questions, I can guarantee you will be able to solve different types of questions. I'm going to make the questions available on www.loggery.com, the new pattern questions, soon, very soon, right? Then we have our legal reasoning. You are solving legal reasoning. So step 1 of our preparation is understanding law, right? Step 2 of our preparation is solving questions. Okay, and then what is required is legal current affairs understanding. When you are reading the newspaper and you come across a legal concept, a news that is related to law, you come across a new judgment, you come across a new law, you don't have to learn it, you have to understand it. I do a series called Legal Current Affairs series. There are around 2 to 3 videos or 4 videos every month that are there on my channel Loggery, wherein I teach legal current affairs. Now, a lot of the students used to say, no, CLAT only has upper se. This is a very common terminology used, that upper se aata hai CLAT mein. Nahi, CLAT mein in depth se aata hai. If you pick up the question paper of CLAT 2022, 2120, you will see. So, if you were reading legal current affairs, if you go through the questions in particular, you could see, I could feel, because I had studied legal current affairs for almost an year or more than an year, there were pointers that were picked up from the newspaper and the questions were framed from current affairs. There were so many, and if you were aware about those parts, you could very easily answer the questions. So legal current affairs is also very important, and I would say watch my videos, number 1 legal current affairs series, and you need to have the understanding of that, and try to make notes also, but for understanding purpose, not for learning purpose. And when in the series I tell you, okay, CLAT people, you need to learn this, then you need to learn it, because sometimes the topic is legal also, but is current affairs also. It is mix of both, and the CLAT people can ask that topic in the current affairs section. For example, this year armed forces law was there, and they were asking questions related to that, because that is both current affairs as well as law, but we cannot differentiate, right? So those topics you need to learn, but others, for legal, the core legal topics, you need to understand. So you don't need to learn the name of the judgment, but you need to understand what was there in the judgment. Getting my point? So this is important. Okay, so this part is very important. I hope this is clear. I know I've created a lot of chaos. Now, there's certain things that you have to not to study for CLAT. One is legal GK. Now, what is legal GK? So, all of these questions, all of these topics, the questions based on memory, we call legal GK. For example, if they ask you, okay, what is Article 44? What is Section 124A of IPC? These type of questions are not going to be there in CLAT. Okay, not going to be there in CLAT. Okay, then comes your legal terms and maxims. These are also not going to be there in CLAT. So you don't need to learn, but yes, you have to learn those legal terms and maxims that are coming your way when you're reading the theory, or that are there in the newspaper. You need to have a good understanding of those. For example, these days anti-defection law was in news when I'm recording this video, right? So you need to know about those things. And what can help is, again, if you're following my examiner analysis, there also we try and cover all the legal topics nicely, because all of the students who are attending those classes, they're preparing for papers wherein there is Indian Constitution. Okay, so we do discuss all the topics. very nicely, and in more detail I talk about those legal topics in legal current affairs. So if you are studying the newspaper with me and then you are studying the legal current affairs with me, your concepts are going to be clear. Okay, now then is one of the biggest mistakes that students commit is when it comes to books, studying bare acts. No, you don't have to study bare acts or studying NCRT. Look, I'm going to tell you, NCRT is not written for competitive exam. It is not written for law entrance exam. So if someone is guiding you, if someone is teaching you and giving you the add-ons, then you can study from NCRT. But by yourself, you cannot study from NCRT because there are a lot of pointers that are missing. Number one. Number two, studying from semester books or bare acts. Now, bare acts also, again, there are a lot of things that are missing. If someone is teaching you from that, giving you add-ons, then it is fine. Otherwise, you will go bonkers. Right. Next is studying from semester books. A lot of students have come up with this concept. They buy the books that they have to study once they are law students and they start studying the books. Now, let me tell you, how would you find out what is important? These books are so fat books. You don't know. It is a lot more confusing. So what I'm telling you, please do that instead of falling for anything that is not good for you. Okay, before you pick a book, it is very important to know that you don't have a lot of time, right? So you need to make sure that you're studying the thing that is required and not going beyond that. Okay, current affairs. So from current affairs, 35 to 39 questions are going to be there. So which are the most important topics? The most important topics are all your current events, all types of current events, be it national, be it international, related to defense, awards. It can be any scheme, government scheme. It can be anything related to environment, any and everything that is there in anything that is there in the newspaper. It is important, but not everything, right? So what is the first step? How you have to cover? Step one is to read the Hindu every day. Yes, it is very, very important that you read the Hindu every day. Look, if you are not able to understand the Hindu, then exam aya 6 to 7 p.m. I take live class every day. Attend that class. Now this in this class, the best part is number one, I tell you that what you have to note, so you can make your handwritten notes, right? Number one thing is there. Number two, I explain everything. Number three, I tell you the background of the thing. Number four, we are also able to cover the vocabulary because I tell you the meaning of the words, of the new words. So these are the things that we do. It is a 1 hour class. If you cannot attend it from 6 to 7 p.m. in the evening, then what you can do is you can attend it as per your convenience. Because the recorded lecture is there on the channel, so you can watch it the next day or late at night, whatever. So this is one thing that you can do, and we also provide marked newspaper on our Telegram. ठीक है ना? Telegram पे we provide the newspaper also for you, so you can join the group. Okay, so this is number one, reading the newspaper. Look, if you really want to clear CLAT, reading the Hindu every day is very, very important. The day you miss the Hindu, reading the Hindu, yaad rakhna, remember that you have missed something. You have missed a step that could have taken you closer to your cracking CLAT journey, right? So the Hindu is very, very important if you have to clear CLAT. Okay, the next thing is following. Step two is, now if you are making handwritten notes, reading the Hindu every day, the next thing is current affairs magazine. So you have to follow a monthly current affairs magazine. Now your monthly current affairs magazine can be GK Today, it can be Pradyogita Darpan. These are something that you can go for. If you're not following the newspaper religiously, if you're missing out on things, then I would say IS Vision, Drishti IS. But I would say please, 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 first step, if you want to really, really make sure that you're able to attempt GK questions when it comes to CLAT 2023 or 2024, the Hindu is mandatory. Yes, it is mandatory, and handwritten notes are also going to help you because there is information that is only given in the Hindu. ऐसी कुछ information होती है बेटा जो सिर्फ और सिर्फ द हिंदू में ही दी होती है. अगर आप उसको नोट कर लोगे तो आपके लिए बहुत बेनिफिशियल रहेगा. Right now, a lot of you are going to tell that आप पहले बोलते थे कि notes बनाओ मत बनाओ, because if we analyze 2020 and 2021 papers, it was fine if you were not making notes. But in 2022, if we analyze 2020, 2021, 2022 together, they have told us very clearly, CLAT consortium is telling us that yes, you need to make notes. So if you are a serious aspirant, if you really, really want to crack CLAT, I would say making notes is a good choice, right? So this is what you can do. If you cannot make notes, if you say that nahi ho hi nahi payega, we cannot make notes and still we want to prepare for CLAT, then go for IAS Vision Drishti IAS, make notes in that magazine. Because one mistake that students commit is they don't have anything to revise from towards the end, right? तो रिविजन के लिए आपके पास मटेरियल होना बहुत जरूरी है, बिकॉज करंट अफेयर्स एक बार में याद नहीं होंगे. Okay, you won't be able to remember current affairs in one go. You have to revise them again and again, and for revision you cannot go back to the newspaper again and again. So if you have notes, you can go through your notes to revise so that you are able to remember, right? And if you're making notes, then from GK Today Pratyogita Darpan, you can add to your notes whatever is new. You can add to your notes, and you can also watch my videos. We also cover a lot of news on the channel, right? So this is what you have to do by yourself. Okay, then handwritten notes, very good if you are able to do. Then comes the question of duration. So duration for 2023 people, January 2022 to December 2023. For 2024 people, look, if your exam takes place in December 23, then you have to prepare the news from January 23 to December 2023. If your paper takes place in May 2024, then till May, June 2024, whenever the paper takes place, you have to cover the news. Clear? So this is what you have to do. Now, a lot of you might have questioned, what if you have backlog? Right, for the backlog, I would say that again, you depend on the magazines. So if you want to study things in detail for the backlog, then I can say that you can go for IAS Vision or Drishti IAS, because there the Hindu is covered a little bit in detail. Right, again, if you want me to do a video that how you have to study from IAS Vision Drishti IAS, then I would leave a I will do a video and you need to comment down below. Right, so this is what you have to do. If you have any queries, you can leave a comment down below, or you can book a one-on-one session, or you can message me on Instagram. Now, not to study for CLAT. So this is very, very important. What you should not study for CLAT. So static GK is not required. ठीक है ना? जो आपका history, geography, Lewson's GK, Pearson's, no, nothing. What is CLAT? What is CLAT consortium saying? CLAT consortium is saying I can ask from the background of, I can ask questions from the background of current events. ठीक है ना? Background of current events they can ask. So what they want is that you should know everything related to current affairs. And if you're reading the newspaper, the background also gets covered. If you're reading the magazine also, so no static GK. Whenever you feel like reading static GK for CLAT, I would say revise your notes again and again. Revise your notes again and again. Okay, now common mistakes, not having notes. This is one of the biggest mistakes. I mean, students, they might have read newspaper every day, but then by the end of it, they are not able to remember most of it, and by the end of it, they don't have anything to revise from. So it is very important that you have something to revise from. So number one, if you are going for handwritten notes, which I suggest you should, that would be great. Handwritten notes जब से बना सकते हो ना. A lot of you are going to say from January 2022 we have not created the notes. It's fine if you can create the notes, even if you are watching this video 15 days prior to CLAT, 7 days prior to CLAT. Start reading the newspaper. That is going to help you. If you're watching this video 3 months, 4 months before your CLAT exam, even 1 year, 6 months, start making the notes from the day you get to know that yes, making notes is compulsory. For other things, I've told you, you can depend on IAS Vision, Drishti IAS. There you can make notes. These are the magazines wherein you can make notes, right? So handwritten notes जा रहे हो. If you're not making handwritten notes, then what you can do is you can make notes in magazine. Okay, so there should be something that you have read before, and then you've revised from there, and just a day before the exam or just 15 days before your CLAT exam, you're revising from there again. Then only you will be able to remember. बेटा तभी आप याद कर पाओगे ना. तो ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है. तब आप क्या ढूंढते हो कि हमें important बता दो. ठीक है ना. CLAT वालों ने 2022 में कुछ important नहीं पूछा. They have not asked many. The questions that they have asked were there in the news, but they are not the most important questions, right? So they want you to read the newspaper every day, and they want that you should remember, and to remember you need notes, right? So not revising current affairs again and again. Obviously, if you don't have notes, from where you're going to revise? So this is a very important thing. Okay, logical reasoning, 28 to 32 questions are going to be there. The most important topics, the most important topics are assumptions, arguments, inference, conclusion. Now how to cover these topics? Look, option number one that I'm going to give you is option number one. If you're buying Arun Sharma for English reading comprehensions, in Arun Sharma book only you will find this topic called critical reasoning. Okay, so you can study this topic, critical reasoning, from Arun Sharma, right? The book for RC is going to have it. Plus, what you can do is you can take help of a free PDF available on my website. I'll leave the link of that in the description box, www.loggery.com. Right, a free PDF is available. Right, so you can go through that PDF. What is assumption, weakening of arguments, strengthening of an argument. All of this you can study from there. और आप क्या कर सकते हो, ये देखो ये वाले टॉपिक्स हर किसी के लिए नए हैं, ठीक है ना, तो डरना नहीं है. These topics are new for everyone, so there's nothing to worry. Everyone, it is new for everyone. So what you're going to do, you're going to study about them. Once you study, you practice, you're going to be good with it. Okay, so number one option is this. Option number one is this. Now you've gone through this and you are like, nahi aa raha hai samajh, nahi questions sahi ho rahe. So what you can do is option number two. Now before I talk about option number two, I'm going to tell you that this book is for CLAT exam, for MBA exam, right? And the PDF of which I have shared is for GMAT, right? So the level is too high. Level is high, but we have no option. We have to study this, right? Because we have to study good explanation of these topics to be able to understand what it is. Okay, number one. Now number two thing that I want you to do is that please solve PYQs. After doing this thing, solve PYQs of CLAT and ALET. Okay, ALET also you leave, you only CLAT, solve the PYQs. And if you are able to solve the PYQs of CLAT that are related to assumption, inference, conclusion and argument, I think your job is done, right? But if you're not able to solve the PYQs that are there in the CLAT exam, then what you need to do, then you need to, it means that your concepts are not clear, you need to study a little more. So you can buy this book by Willy. There's a book called Willy for GMAT, right? I'll leave the link in the description box. It is a critical reasoning book, so you can study from that book. Okay, or you can go for any other book. So this is what you need to do. Now, a lot of you must have bought this book called M.K. Pandey, Analytical Reasoning by M.K. Pandey. Now, if you have bought M.K. Pandey, not to worry at all. From M.K. Pandey, you can cover these topics because conclusion is not there in that book. So, study the basics, very good basics, you will get a clarity. But the question type is different. The question type M.K. Pandey में दिया हुआ है, assumption, arguments, inference का, वो question type CLAT में नहीं आता है. Okay, so what you have to do, study from MK Pandey. If you have MK Pandey, don't buy MK Pandey. If you have already MK Pandey, you're having MK Pandey, then you can plus add the free PDF thing, study from the free PDF, solve questions from free PDF, and then you attempt your CLAT PYQs. If you are able to solve, you are good to go, right? If again you're not able to solve, then you invest in this book, right? So this is what you have to do. And if you have Arun Sharma, then you can study from Arun Sharma also. So this is what you have to do. Levels, if you're able to study Arun Sharma and you're good to go, then why do you want to study any other book? You just have to then practice and practice. Now I want to tell you one thing, that in logical reasoning section also, students, if you study current affairs very nicely, it is going to help you. Again, here also they want that you should have a good reading speed. Good reading speed, number one. Number two, they want that your vocabulary should be good. Now vocabulary good means current affairs, your newspaper vocabulary should be good. And third, they want that your current affairs knowledge related to current affairs should be good, because the passages are picked up from current affairs itself, right? So this is also going to help. Okay, then after entire syllabus of CLAT is complete, can leave also. If you want to, like in 2020 we had a question from puzzle test. So once you're done with entire all the subjects of CLAT, then you can pick up this verbal puzzle test. These were the most important topics. Then comes the topics that might be there. Okay, in 2020 exam we had one passage. I think there were 4 to 5 questions from this topic, arrangements, puzzle test. Now, if you are done with entire syllabus of CLAT, all the subjects, important topics are done, then you pick up this topic. Okay, you can leave this topic also. If you do not have time, then you can leave this topic. Common mistakes. Studying from verbal reasoning by R.S. Agarwal. No, you cannot study from this book. No, you don't have to pick up this book for these topics. Okay, this book is only for this topic, only for puzzle test. Okay, not reading theory. Now this is another mistake. You've not read what is an assumption, what are arguments, what is inference, what is conclusion, and you're attempting questions, you're attempting mock tests, and then you're coming to me and saying marks nahi aa rahe. Obviously you don't know what is an inference, what is an assumption. So you need to read, you need to understand, read and understand theory. Not practicing enough, this is also not right. You need to practice. Once you have understood what is assumption, what is argument, inference, conclusion, whenever you go through an article, when in the newspaper, whenever you go through an editorial, it is very important that once you have read the theory, you've practiced PYQs, you've practiced enough from the books. I would say that whenever you read any editorial or article, ask yourself what is the author assuming, what is the argument of the author, what can be inferred, what can be concluded. All of these questions, जब आप ये बार बार पूछोगे, so you will be able to answer questions in the exam for sure. Leaving the subject completely. Now this is one mistake with maths and logical reasoning. Most of you think that we'll leave these subjects, we'll study legal aptitude, and we'll study our English and current affairs. We're already weak in, or even if you're good at current affairs, please, you cannot leave logical reasoning. Logical reasoning is one subject which is not at all difficult. Once you have prepared, you've read the theory, practiced, you're reading current affairs, you have a good vocabulary base, you're good to go. You have a good reading speed. I think you won't face any problem with it. So yes, leaving the subject completely is one of the biggest mistake. This, I know it is a new subject. मुझे पता है कि ये नया subject है. But आप जब इस दुनिया में आए थे, आपको बोलना नहीं आता था. So you should not leave this section at all. This is a very, very scoring section. I have told you that how you have to prepare. Please prepare it this way and you will be able to solve questions and you will be able to get the answers right. I promise you. Please do not leave logical reasoning. It is a very, very interesting section. It is a new section and students tend to leave it. So you are not leaving it because I've told you how you have to prepare. Okay, let's move on to the next section. Quantitative techniques, maths. 13 to 17 questions are going to be there. The most important topics that you need to cover: 30 Days Wonder by S. Chand, day 6 to day 10, day 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, day 17, 18, 28 and 30. So basically the topics, if you have some other book and you want to know the particular topics, I've mentioned them here: percentage, profit and loss, time and distance, average, ratio, proportion, simple interest, compound interest, mensuration, statistics and probability, right? These are the topics, the most important topics that you have to cover. If you're going directly for 30 Days Wonder, then these are the days that you have to cover. Like 30 Days Wonder by S. Chand is a book, very important book. So this is step 1. You have to solve basic maths. Okay, from here you will solve basic maths. Then after, data interpretation is there. Now data interpretation, quantitative techniques के अंदर you have to solve basic maths first and then you have to solve step 2 is data interpretation questions wherein you apply basic maths. Okay, so first step is solving basic maths from 30 Days Wonder. Now this book, for this the book is olive board. You can go for olive board and you have to solve only level 1, all of these topics. All of these topics you have to solve, right? The other book that I have for you is by S. Chand. There's a new book by S. Chand, An Advanced Approach to Data Interpretation by R.S. Agarwal. Right, I'll leave the link of the book in the description box. Now you will say earlier you were telling olive board, now you have come up with S. Chand's book because olive board is expensive. Data interpretation by olive board is an expensive book. So I wanted to come up with a less expensive book, like a book which is in your budget. I think your S. Chand is for 225 and a complete guide for DI and data sufficiency or by olive board, it is on the higher side. I think around 500 का वो book पड़ जाता है. So that is why I'm giving you option only one book for data interpretation. You do not have to buy both the books, and 30 Days Wonder by S. Chand for your maths. Please, one of the biggest mistakes students commit here is either they leave this the quantitative technique section altogether. Number one. Number two, what they do is directly jump to data interpretation. Beta, if they are going to ask you the formulas of percentage, averages, ratio and proportion, speed, distance, time, and if you don't know about those things, how would you be able to solve data interpretation? So data interpretation, the formulas are going to be basic maths. So solve basic maths first and then come to data interpretation. Clear on that? Common mistake, studying from quantitative aptitude by R.S. Agarwal. Nahi re. You don't need to study from this book. This is a big, big book. No, you don't have to study. We are studying from the bhai behan of this book only. R.S. Agarwal ka bhai behan nahi hai 30 Days Wonder, but we have to go for the smaller version, right? Remember, 13 to 17 questions are going to be there. Yes, they are important. We need to try that we get minimum score of around 10, 11. If you're able to score 10, 11 marks from maths, your job is done. Right? I know a lot of you are not good with maths and you're like, no, you leave it for the last, and that last day never comes. It never comes. Like the exam day is there and you have never gone through the books. So maths is important, but it is not too important that you study quantitative aptitude by Arisagwa. So this is one book that is a big, big cross, right? This is a cross. Leaving maths completely should not be the option. No, you have to study maths. If you are thinking that you want to study maths, then all other four subjects you need to be 100 on 100, right? And that I know most of you are not. So you're not going to leave maths. Right. So guys, if you want to know that how you should prepare for CLAT 2023 or 2024 in detail, then you need to check out more of my videos. I'll leave the link of the videos in the description box below, also on the screen. Right. Do watch those videos, note down the syllabus. This is going to help you a lot. Right. And if you have any queries, you can leave a comment down below. You can also book a paid one-on-one session with me. Yes, you can talk to me directly, but for that, you need to book a session which is paid. You can also talk to me on for free on Instagram. I'm there by the name at @I'mLoggery. So guys, that's it. Loggery signing off. I'll see you super soon. Bye and take care.